When you ask that question, the one line from Chosen comes to mind is, I was one way before, and I'm one way now, and in between was him.
Totally different.
So you're totally different.
Totally different.
And I can look at that in my life. I am not the person that I was the first 35 years. There was a definite switch that happened. And
Yeah.
I'm, still in that.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
That's a choice.
That's a choice. And that is we look at, we say, what does, Jesus says, take up your cross daily. And so we look at it like, we look at it as something we have to do every day, but it's something we have to be every day.
Correct.
It's not necessarily the issue of dealing with a difficult person or a difficult job situation. That may be the issue, but the issue is not the job, not the person. It's me.
Who I am becoming.
And who I want to be in that. So it's going through that. I think this whole cruciformity thing is to me going through the cross to the other side, being a part of that crucifixion, but the resurrection to me is on the other side of the cross. Almost like a what do you call it? Not a morphing, but just actually going through this
Metamorphosis?
Yeah, and
Well,
coming,
transformation,
yeah,
Yeah.
and coming out and being on the other side of the cross, whatever that looks like, and being different.
Yeah.
You're
The
changed
more, the more I'm walking in the life that I know God gave me, because it's really difficult, because I know I didn't choose this. I chose to follow him. The more I realize it's choosing to become what he is changing me to become.
Nice.
It's not me becoming
Yes.
something, it's me surrendering to
Yes,
him.
yeah. Yes,
because
exactly.
he's going to change. I would never choose the paths he has chosen for me. Not in full knowledge. Full disclosure here. Nope, you got the wrong person.
Yeah.
So,
No, but it's choice, and it's sometimes multiple times a day.
and it's ongoing. I mean, I'm not going to be the same person now that I'll be when I'm 90.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah.
or next week. I hope. You know, I hope that I'll be transforming from now until next week. It's an ongoing.
But that's the
And then
hard
you're done,
That's
right?
what you call
Next
it.
week you're done.
No, well, that's the funny part of it. I thought I got to a point of saying, God, I've been doing this for 3 years. Am I not there yet? And it was crazy because it took somebody who was like 68 years old saying, Christine, I'm not there yet. Like there is no there. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I grew up in churches where people appeared, you know, one way and they never exposed themselves. And never was vulnerable about like, this is what I'm struggling with, and this is what God's doing in my life right now. And that's a very exposing place to be.
And so
Yeah.
you're celebrating actually the hurts and the faults in a way where people tend to be ashamed of or
Yes.
afraid to show the vulnerability or the hurts. And so it's not so much, sometimes it's a cover up, but sometimes it's just, I don't want you to see that I haven't made it, you know,
Yeah.
whatever made it means, you know. And so it's again, authentic the authenticness,
Relationship, yeah.
authentic relationships of just finding people you can trust that won't misuse your
Yes.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and break but they may, but you're
Right,
looking
and-
for people that will walk with you and put an arm around you when you're
Yeah.
by yourself.
Well, even in
Absolutely.
that, you know, if you're walking with someone and you're vulnerable, something may happen where you feel like they betrayed you. But that doesn't mean you stop being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I love this. I love the pivot that we're doing right now because actually we were talking about how to be safe, and Jesus didn't trust anybody because he knew what was in their hearts. And I grew up being hurt and never being taught to have character discernment, not knowing who to trust and who not to trust, not knowing that it takes time to learn who people are and to, you know, count count the cost of them being human, you know, and not just telling anybody. I mean, I think we have to have very great discernment about who we share those things with and who we. I mean, I think that's part of our leadership also is, you know, as we're growing into that, is having character discernment and
Absolutely.
understanding what God says about that.
It's also choosing to be, and this part of like the statements, right, and the core values and stuff is we're saying that we're choosing to be people that are safe to be vulnerable with.
Yes.
Like not only that we will be, but that we will be safe.
Yes.
Because just kind of pressing into that, you can't really see how lives are transformed unless you're being vulnerable with each other, and you also can't be challenged to you know, be iron sharpening iron, and that kind of mutual growth until you're willing to take the masks off, right? And so saying that we're doing that in the context of this community
Yes.
is kind of a big deal, right? Like,
It's
Yeah.
it's huge. It's huge. You know, I really appreciate, Christine, what you shared and what you shared too, Tina, is that, you know, in that juncture of that incredible transformation, we're forever changed. Yet at the same time, you're still you in the one sense, you know. I mean, that's the unique nature of our God, how He transforms us, is that you're just more you, Tina, today than you were 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, likewise for you, it's that whole process and journey, which is really, really sweet. And I really also appreciate what you've shared here, Elizabeth, that in order to have that discerning spirit in the one sense, we can't wait for that. We have to foster that. We have to create that community ourselves. And it begins with us, making that choice of being transparent and vulnerable and say, you know what, I'm going to put it out there for the sake and love of this community and what I so crave in this, with authenticity amongst ourselves. I'm going to foster that. So I'm going to, which leads almost back to that whole cruciformity thing in the first place. It's really not about us. It's never ever about us.
I think that probably the underlying thread in all of these stories that are connected is, as you said, Terry, we don't become not ourselves anymore, but we no longer belong to ourselves.
Yes.
That's
It's
good.
about belonging to
Amen.
Jesus. So in each of these scenarios, you're changed because of surrender, of saying, my life is not my own. I'm still me, but I can let go of some of those things because I
Yeah.
belong to Him. And you can not have to trust other people who might hurt you because you trust Him
Yes.
and that He will keep you safe. And not have to worry about being offended or attacked because it's not my life anyways. I belong to Him, you know, and I think it allows us to be both vulnerable with other people and be, as you said, Elizabeth, the people that are safe to be vulnerable
Yeah.
around
yeah.
when we take that perspective.
Yeah.